In this video, we're going to be talking you through our hiring process, how we recruit, interview, and train rock stars so that they become assets to our company instead of liabilities. Okay, so if you're looking for rock stars, you need to have a rock star business because rock stars want fertile, healthy ground that they can plant themselves, they can grow, they can flourish, they can be supported, and all of that. If you're just looking for somebody to dig a hole, go to Home Depot, hire some kids or whatnot. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to grow your business, you need to actually have a business. So this goes way beyond hiring. This goes way beyond recruiting, because if this is your company and you got a dumpster, right? And that's just a dumpster fire. You're going to get trash that's going to come to your company and try and get a job there. And you're going to get people that don't want to work, that don't show up, that don't have vehicles, they want $50 an hour to stand around and do nothing. They're going to be late every day. They're going to take 2 hours for lunch. They're going to leave early. There's always going to be some sort of drama or chaos. If your business is a dumpster fire, you are going to find trash for employees. So you have got to start working on your business before you can find people that are going to work in your business. So before you start hiring rock stars, you've got to make sure you've got a place for them. You've got to make sure you got an all-star team if you want rock stars to work for you, right? So you've got to know what you do, how you do it, who does it, and then you have to have a training program to train them on what you do. So this is what we do. We're the best at it. We do this one thing. We're the masters of it. How we do it. These are your manuals. These are your scripts. These are your SOPs. These are your standards. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Now, this is your org chart. You got to know who does it. I don't care how big your company is. You have to have an organizational chart on everything that you do and who's responsible for it. This is your org chart. You have to have that. And then you have to have an onboarding training program that takes them through 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever it is. You need to build that at your house. When we were working out of our house, I built an actual little model home thing that I would have my technicians train on. And they would spend hours and hours and hours training on this thing at our shop, at my house, before I even sent them to somebody else's house. You've got to train them on what you do, how you do it, and who does it. You have to train them your way and your standards so that every single customer gets the same service the same way every time, okay? And if you're throwing people out there for on-the-job training, you are doing yourself a disservice, you are doing your customers a disservice, and you are doing your new hires a disservice. And I promise you, you're not going to get rock stars if this is what you're looking at with the on-the-job training like this. All right, so now that your business is built and you have a healthy foundation, a healthy business that we can start recruiting for the rock stars, now let's actually talk about the hiring process, because you got a lot of work to do before you can start hiring rock stars. Okay, because if you don't have this stuff and your business is just a dumpster fire that looks like this, you're just going to get trash. That's all you're going to be able to find. How do you find these people, man? Every day, I am constantly recruiting. You're constantly marketing, you're constantly recruiting. If I'm at a restaurant and I see somebody that's motivated, that looks a little bored, a rock star who loves his job, I say, hey man, I do this kind of thing. This is what I do. This is what I'm looking at. Here's our training program. This is what we do. Give me a call. So I'm always recruiting. If I go into Home Depot and I see somebody who's hustling and working hard, I'm like, dude, you should come check us out and see what we got going on. You may enjoy it. You may love it. It may change your life. You may find a new career, because they might not even thought about coming to work for you or doing something else like that. So now that we've got a fertile garden, and we are no longer a dumpster fire of a company, because I promise, if you don't have all of that stuff, you're just hopping from job to job, paycheck to paycheck, and you're not even surviving. I wouldn't even call it surviving. Everything's great. We've got fertile ground. We've got a fertile environment. We've got resumes coming in, right? So before we even get to that part, you have got to figure out you've got to figure out the perfect employee, and you've got to list everything that you want from this perfect technician, perfect employee, based on the org chart. And when you're hiring from the org chart, you know, I'm looking for somebody who does this position, and then we're looking for somebody who does this position. And inside that org chart, you have the responsibilities, and then you can say, I want somebody that's outgoing and easy to talk with. I need somebody who's organized. I want, if you're hiring an office lady to answer the phones, I need somebody who's really administrative and really good with computers. So you need to figure out what you're hiring for, right? And I say it's like fishing. If you're fishing for catfish, you can use any kind of bait, right? But if you're fishing for bass, you need specific kind of bait for specific seasons, for specific waters to find those specific fish. If you're fishing for river trout, you're not going to throw a big old treble hook with a piece of hot dog on it. You know what I mean? You've got to figure out what you're fishing for, what you're looking for, and then you can throw that bait in there, and then you can figure it out. So now that we've got our perfect avatar, we know who we're looking for. Now we start going through resumes. And this is a quick and easy yes or no process. You scan it, no. If you're a roofer and you see somebody who has 10 years, working on vehicles in the automotive industry, he's probably going to be a hard no for me if I'm looking for a roofer. He's never worked outside. He's never worked on the roofs. He's never worked in the Texas heat. So he doesn't know what he's getting into. Probably never been up on ladders, doesn't have the skill sets. That's just not a good formula, right? So now that we've got our stack of yeses, we go through each one of them and we do a screening call. That is step one. It's going to be a quick 5 or 10 minute call. We text them first. And we say, hey, this is Jeremiah with XYZ Company. We got your resume. We would like to have a quick screening call with you. They'll usually text back. They'll say, yes, that's fine. When can we do it? We schedule the screening call. We get on the call. What we're looking for is how they talk. We're looking for their attitude. We're looking for their grammar. We're looking for their language. If they're cussing at you, they're going to be cussing at your customer. If they talk like they're a gangster, they're probably a gangster. So depending on what you're looking for, what your avatar is, depending on the person you need to find, all right, you need to have those restrictions written down of what you're doing. And this is a quick thing too. It's man, I didn't like his attitude. He called me dude. He called me bruh a bunch. Right? He said, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And he seemed super motivated, or he was like, I don't know. Like, or, he's like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Right? So there's a few questions you need to ask them. Number one, do you have a vehicle? If they don't have a vehicle, do not hire them. If they say, yeah, I got a ride to work, do not hire them. If they don't have a car, don't freaking hire them. Because they're not going to be getting to work. They're going to be asking you for rides to work and home and all of that stuff. Right? You've got to ask them these questions. Can they do the job physically? Can you physically? And I ask them like this. Our ladders are rated 250 pounds. Can you physically do this? The safety rating, right? Because if they're 350 pounds, they're not getting on my ladders. They're getting a big X. So can you physically do this? So there's a few questions we ask. Why are you interested in working for us? Oh, well, I got fired at my last job, my baby mama. I just need a paycheck, right? Are you looking for somebody who's just going to dig ditches? Are you looking for somebody that's going to catch your vision in their sale? Boom, and take off with it. It depends on what you're looking for, but you have to figure that out. All of this happens, a lot happens during this initial screening call. Where'd my stuff go? What the heck? Oh, there it is. All right, so we got the initial screening call that says, yeah, he's worth diving into. He's worth looking at more. He's worth let's see if he can move him through the process. So we got the screening call. The next step that I do is I stopped doing face-to-face interviews. Why? Because I would schedule time slots and I would have 3 or 4 interviews scheduled. I have the 2 hours blocked off where I'm just sitting there waiting for them. We'll text them the day before the interview is scheduled. Yeah, we're coming. I'll be there, no problem. And they don't freaking show up. So I've scheduled this time. So I don't do face-to-face sit down interviews anymore because people can lie to you. People can fake their way through a 30-minute or a 1-hour interview, and that's just not real to me. So what I do is I schedule them for a ride along in one of my trucks. We go on a ride along because, number one, if they're serious about working for me, they're going to show up to the ride along. They're going to jump in the truck. I'm going to take them to a couple places, show them, hey, this is what we do. This is how we do it. Here's our training program, all of that. So they get to see exactly what's going on because this is a first date is what it is. They're going on a date with me to see if I fit with them, and I'm taking them on a date to see if we're the right culture for them, if we mesh together, if they're what they're looking for. And also, they get a lot more relaxed and comfortable when we're driving around and we're just joking. And I kind of try and act like I'm having a beer with somebody at the bar that I just met, right? So I'm asking them questions about their life. I'm trying to find out if they're alcoholics. I'm trying to find out if they use drugs. I'm trying to find out, like, hey man, tell me about your last job. I'll tell a story about somebody that pissed me off. I'll get them talking, feeling more comfortable. I want to know what kind of person they are. And it's hard to fake it in a couple hours riding around in the truck. It's easy to fake it in a face-to-face interview for 30 minutes. So that's what I do. I do a ride along with them, and I start asking them questions. I try and be buddy-buddy with them. I try and let them know, this is a safe place. Tell me about, and I ask them questions. Tell me something awesome you've done for at work. Tell me something great you've done for your last company. Right? Tell me about a time you got in an argument with your boss or your superior. Tell me about a time that you disagreed with what they were doing, and how did you handle it? Tell me about a time that tell me about the greatest day of your life, And then during that ride along, I'm also trying to find out what their 3 to 5 year plan is. Right? Because if they're like, I don't know, I'm just looking for a job. I don't know. If they're just floating through life, how many jobs have you had? If you've had 30 jobs in the last 2 years, I'm probably not going to hire you. So it depends on what you're looking for. And we've already gone through that. You know who you're looking for, right? You know what that avatar is that you're looking for. Have you ever gotten a fight on the job? If there's a dude and he's kind of alpha, I start bringing that fight. We'll start talking about MMA stuff. Maybe I'll talk about some fights I had back in high school. Maybe I'll talk about, I saw this one guy on a job site. He got in a fight with another job. I want to know what kind of character they have, right? I might tell a story about somebody who stole something, somebody stole a ladder or whatnot, right? I'm trying to find it out. And then when I get home, I have a red flag list. RFL. Anything that I felt like a red flag. He cussed, he said the F word, whatever, which I really don't care about, but it depends on his character and what time. Or if he starts, going in on, oh yeah, I beat the shit out of this one guy, or I did this, or I did that. Like anything on this red flag list, you got to list it out, right? So that's the first ride along. And guess what? He's not done yet. I go back, I sit down with my manager, I sit down with my wife, I sit down with my team leader, and I discuss this and talk about this. Is this guy worth moving on through the process? If he gets a yes, then cool. Now we go to let me start. Sorry. Ride along number 2, okay? Once we're just getting comfortable, he's still got his guard up, he's still got his walls up. Ride along number 2, I might take him to lunch, might take him to breakfast, something like that. This is more of a, hey, now you're more comfortable, let's see what really happens, right? So we do this for another couple hours, and then again, we go do the red flag list. Red flag list. When I get back to the office, as soon as I drop him off, I start writing stuff down. What was good, what was bad, yes or no. And this should be a quick yes or no, right? If you're getting any sort of gut checks, if you're getting anything, you're like, maybe he has a lot of potential, but I don't know. It's a no, right? And again, depending on who you're looking for, right? If you're just looking for somebody to dig a ditch, that's different. The other thing I want to point out is if their life is chaos, they're going to bring that chaos into your business, okay? If they are homeless, living in their aunt's house, they don't have a car, she's dropping him off at work every day, he is going to bring that chaos into his life. If him and his girlfriend or wife are arguing and fighting, she's cheating on him, if there's all sorts of drama, that drama is going to bleed over into your company. They're going to bring that into your company, right? So they need to have their life squared away and figured out somewhat if they're going to work for you, because rock stars have their life a little bit. Here's another tip that you may or may not agree with, all right? I have my own kids, and we're basically parents to adults anyway. If they still live at home, barring they're taking care of their parents or something like that, if they still live at home and they don't have the responsibility of taking care of themselves, if they don't have their own apartment, if they don't have their own vehicle, I'm probably not going to hire them, because if you're 25 years old and you're not responsible enough at this point to have a reliable vehicle, to be supporting yourself and taking care of yourself, you're not going to support me and you're not going to take care of me in my business in a way that I can nurture you and take care of you. And it's a reciprocal thing. Help me help you, right? And if your life is chaos, if your life is a mess, that's a big no for me. All right, so we got the initial phone call. We got the ride along, the first one. We got the ride along number 2. Ride along number 2, you can also send them in the car with one of your technicians or one of your managers or somebody else, because they're going to put their guard. I had a guy, day 1, rode with me. He was in, and then I put him in the truck with one of my technicians. Day 1, trying to sell this dude drugs on day 1. He was as soon as he got out of the truck with me and got into the truck with him, he starts trying to sell my technician drugs on the job. Right? So put them in another truck. If you have another truck, get them on another team. See what your manager does about it. See what your manager thinks about it. See what your team leads. See if your other technician, right? Because if you've already got a technician, you want to make sure they mesh if they're going to be working together. All right. 4. So yes, we got a yes on the call. We got a yes on the ride along 1. We got a yes on the ride along 2. And every day we sit down and we talk about this red flag list. So next, we have a 90, and let's say we want to bring them on board, right? We're going to run, everything's a yes. We sit down, we have them fill out paperwork, we give them our employee handbook, we have them sign, I have them sign a piece of paper that says any no-call, no-show is a voluntary resignation. So if you don't show up and you don't call me, you just quit, right? Because I don't play that. It doesn't make sense. Right? Every day we go over the daily plus deltas. Once a week, we sit down with that employee. We have a weekly progress report and talk about what you're doing great, what you're not. And then you also have a clear path of advancement. Right? And that goes to your business plan. You need to have all this stuff already figured out. This is your clear path of advancement, right? Week 1 and 2, you're going to be training. Week 3 and 4, you're going to be this. Week, 5 and 6, you're going to be. Week 5 and 6, you're going to be doing this. Week 6 and 7, you're going to be doing this. And by the end of the 90 days, maybe it's 30 days they're on their own. Maybe it's 60 days they're on their own. But they're still under 90-day probation period for that first 90 days. So that's it. That's how we do it. This is our hiring process. It's very simple. We've nailed it down to initial phone call, ride along, 90-day probation period, 90 days of interviews. 90 interviews in 90 days. That's what we're doing. Every single day is an interview for them for 90 days. All right? And the red flags, like I said, they get 3 red flags, boom, they're gone. That the hiring process should be very slow. The firing process should be very fast, right? Somebody steals from you. If you catch somebody stealing something from you, they got to go immediately, because it's not the first time that they've stolen from you. It's just the first time they got caught. All right? If they show up to work late 2 times, 3 times, fire them. They're gone, because they're going to continue that. And you have to be on point. You have to be a rock star if you're going to have rock stars working for you, man. Because if you slack off 10%, your next guy's going to slack off 30%. And if your field service manager or team leader slacks off 30%, your technicians are going to slack off 50%, right? If you find out somebody's drinking beer at lunch at the restaurant, you fire them. That is unacceptable. Your business is your fault. The players on your team are your fault. And if your business is a dumpster fire, then all you're going to get for employees is burning garbage. And burning garbage stinks. All right? Your business is your fault. Your team is your fault. Take the responsibility, bear the burden, and rock on. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We put new videos out every week. In the description, you'll find the link to our free ebook. There is gold in that free ebook. It will change your business. Go check it out. Free ebook. Subscribe to this channel. I love you. We'll see you on the next one.